There's been a weird feel to this summer, honestly. Seeing a lot of rain, especially throughout July. I don't think we went more than 3 or 4 days without seeing measurable amounts of rain. And that's continued a little bit into this portion of early August. But the first 10 days of August look quite mild, too. More 80s in the forecast than 90s. But I think those temperatures will creep up a little bit more toward the end of this week. So as you look at some cloud cover out there, probably turning to a dry day, though, in the forecast. Not expecting too much rain to really come from any clouds here in eastern Nebraska today. Temperatures are at 65 degrees early in the 6 o'clock hour this morning with a comfortable dew point at 60 and south winds really less than 10 miles per hour. As you look across southeast Nebraska, the cooler temperatures just off to our east in Omaha and Nebraska City in the lower 60s, but most in the middle and upper 60s, even looking out west, still in the 70s out toward Chadron, but 68 in Ogallala, 68 also in McCook, with dew points a little higher out in central and western Nebraska too. There is a troughing feature, an area of low pressure that out ahead of it, we're seeing some pooling moisture, a little bit more of a breeze this morning, and a little more wind, I think, throughout this afternoon, too. Wind gusts are starting to creep up a little bit more toward Ogallala with a storm in the area, but elsewhere, winds around 5 to 15 miles per hour to the south and southeast. But I do want to mention that higher winds are going to spread out into central Nebraska by this afternoon. Something we haven't had to mention in a while. We've had fairly light winds here in Nebraska for quite some time, which has also kind of been a little bit of a weird factor to see in the summer. But we'll be on the edge of this feature here in southeast Nebraska with some winds picking up around 20 to 25 miles per hour before a little bit more wind and a little bit of a breeze still continues tonight into the overnight hours. But mostly clear, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies as you look across the state. We want to zoom in on this storm that just crossed into Nebraska toward Ogallala. It has been on a weakening trend, but the front edge has kind of redeveloped as it moves into Lincoln County toward North Platte with a little lightning. Nothing's been severe for quite some time, and I don't think it will be severe as we go throughout the rest of this morning, continue to weaken with eastward movement throughout the day. But 85 degrees here in Lincoln for a high temperature, finally dry in the forecast. I think a lot of outdoor projects finally looking forward to some of that to get a move on. But as we go into tonight, I think we'll see some more storm development, largely I think in northern Nebraska first. You'll see a storm trying to pop toward the South Dakota border closer to sunset. Most of the activity in South Dakota overnight until some more storms build in northeast Nebraska. And these will have a little more southerly extent as we go towards sunrise on Wednesday, really into tomorrow morning. Try to build toward Lincoln and far eastern Nebraska before clearing the area after about the mid-morning hours. So the risk for severe weather largely over north and northeast Nebraska, just a marginal risk, meaning maybe a 5% chance of any storm turning severe within 25 miles of a point in this area. So low end risk both tonight and even into tomorrow, even though more of Nebraska is including a marginal risk for Wednesday. But then hotter temperatures toward the end of this week with heat indices in the lower 100s and more storm potential over this upcoming weekend.
Wildfire is